Today we're going to talk about square roots and cube roots. So yesterday we worked on perfect squares and perfect cubes, so now we're just going to pretty much go the opposite direction. So roots are sometimes called radicals, and it's actually a radical symbol. So there are many different types of them. A square root looks just like this. A cube root, you just put a little 3 inside there. A fourth root, you just put a 4. Really, you can have any number of a root. So a 7th root would be a 7. If we kept going, a 15th root, you could put a 15 in there. So it just depends on what you're looking for, of what number you'll see outside. But square root is the only one where you will not see a number. So perfect square roots are the opposite of your perfect squares pretty much. You go the other way. So roots that end up as integers. And remember, integers are your negative numbers and positive numbers that do not include decimal fractions. So like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, on and on in both directions. Square roots cancel your squares. So the square root of x squared, well, x squared is x times x. The square root of that is x. You're trying to figure out what number times itself did you use to get to that number. So the square root of 1, we've written it out for you, is really 1 times 1, so 1 squared. The square root of 1 squared, your square root symbol and your squared cancel out, and you're left with 1. The square root of 4 is 2 times 2, so we could rewrite it as the square root of 2 squared. Well, when you undo that, the square root of 4 is 2, because 2 times 2 will give you that 4. The square root of 9, again, is 3 times 3, so the square root of 3 squared, it could be rewritten, and you get 3. Because you can say 3 times 3 will give you 9, so you're just going the opposite direction. So again, I have all of these written out for you. The square root of 16 is positive or negative 4. Now, your 3 that I just showed you right here could actually have the positive and negative side in front of it, and I forgot to write that. I'm sorry. Because positive 4 times positive 4 gives you 16, but negative 4 times negative 4 also gives you positive 16. Square root of 25 is positive or negative 5. Square root of 36, positive or negative 6. Square root of 49 is positive or negative 7. Square root of 64, positive or negative 8. Square root of 81 is positive or negative 9. Square root of 100 is positive or negative 10. And you will look at these all the way through the square root of 400, which is positive or negative 20. So these are just some that we've got to make ourselves familiar with, as they're the ones that we're really typically going to see. Now, along with looking at perfect square roots, we also need to look at perfect cube roots. A cube root will cancel a cubed number. So the cube root of x to the third power is just x. So the cube root of 1 is 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. And because that's saying 2 times 2 times 2 will give you 8. So these notes really go hand in hand with the ones you looked at yesterday. Cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of 64 is 4. The cube root of 125 is 5. The cube root of 216 is 6. The cube root of 343 is 7. The cube root of 512 is 8. The cube root of 729 is 9. And the cube root of 1000 is 10. So yesterday we looked at squaring and cubing numbers. Like 2 to the second power is 2 times 2 to get me 4. Today, we're going in the opposite direction. The square root of 4, what number times itself gives you the 4, is 2. So the square root of 4 is 2. So you just have to think about square or roots and squares or cube roots and cubes as going back and forth between each other. They're opposites. They're inverse operations.